Escape from Denver. For years, Denver sold itself as the affordable alternative to California, but somehow it ended up with California prices, California cost of living, but none of the California weather. And now, for the first time in more than 20 years, more people are leaving Colorado than moving in from other states. And at the center of that story is Denver. Today, we're breaking down exactly why people are fleeing the mile high city, and the numbers, they just might shock you. According to the U.S. Census Bureau's vintage 2025 estimates, Colorado's population reached over 6 million as of July 1st, 2025. But its growth rate of just 0.4% was actually below the national average of 0.5%. Colorado's net migration, the difference between people coming in versus leaving, has dropped by over 53% in the last decade, according to a 2025 report by the Common Sense Institute. It's a nonpartisan research organization. Now, when we start looking at different types of issues here, according to the Denver Gazette, the Denver Metro specifically saw a 69.6% decline in net migration relative to 2015. Now, let that sink in for a little bit. Nearly 70% fewer people are choosing to move to Denver than a decade ago. And in 2025, the Colorado Sun reported that Colorado crossed a sobering threshold. The state recorded a net domestic loss of 12,100 people, meaning that 12,100 more residents left for other states than arrived from them. Denver City itself lost roughly 1,000 residents overall in 2025. About 8,000 people left for other parts of the United States, partially offset by births and limited new arrivals. So what's driving the exodus? Let's go now by reason. All right, reason number one. Home prices. People can't afford to live here anymore. As of 2025, the median home price in the Denver metro area sits around $599,000, so almost $600,000. Single family detached homes average between $650,000 and $666,000. Even condos and townhomes average between $390,000 to $400,000, and that's according to the Denver Group Real Estate. The Common Sense Institute's Home Buyers Misery Index. Now, what that does is it measures effective home buying costs. It finds that Colorado currently ranks 50th out of all 50 states, plus the District of Columbia, for housing competitiveness. That's dead last. And Denver has a housing supply shortage to match. The city faces an estimated deficit of nearly 13,000 to nearly 31,000 housing units, with some analysts saying that Denver needs between 31 and 49,000 new permits by 2028 just to catch up. For renters, it's really no better. The average rent in Denver is $2,200 per month, and that's according to Zillow's current market data. Now, a typical renter now spends roughly 28% of their household income on rent, and that requires an annual income approaching $80,000 just to afford a mid-market lease. Nationally, half of all renters are spending 30% or more of their income on housing, and that's the federal threshold for being cost burdened. In Colorado, over a quarter of renters are severely cost burdened, spending more than 50% of their income on rent. So while the median income growth has long lagged behind housing cost increases, Colorado's median household income in 2024 was just over $97,000, about 19% above the national average. But that hasn't really been enough to keep up with Denver's soaring real estate market. So what's the bottom line? For many residents, especially younger buyers and working families, Denver's housing market has simply priced them out. So reason number two, and this is similar to housing costs. We're going to just talk about overall cost of living. And now, depending on the source, Denver's cost of living runs between 9% to 33% above the national average. And that's with housing obviously being the primary driver, which we just talked about. But then you have transportation, you have healthcare, and you have other expenses starting to stack up as well. Denver's combined sales tax rate is at 8.81%. Now, what does that include? That includes Colorado's state tax of 2.9%, Denver County, 4.81%, and additional special district taxes. Then, of course, you have Colorado with a flat state income tax of 4.4% on all earners. So for a single adult living in Denver, Salary.com estimates that total monthly expenses are around $3,000 per month. For a family of four, it's even more expensive. It jumps up to about almost $6,700 per month. That means living costs here in Denver are 25% higher than the U.S. national average. Traffic's another cost, both financially and in quality of life. Denver's major highways, I-25 and I-70, are notorious for congestion during peak hours. The city has a walk score of 69 and a transit score of only 54, meaning that most residents still rely on personal vehicles, adding insurance, gas, parking costs to an already stretched budget. Now, reason number 3 why people are fleeing Denver is safety. According to Neighborhood Scout, Denver has a crime rate of 57 per 1,000 residents, making it one of the highest crime rates in the entire country compared to communities of all sizes. Your chance of becoming a victim of a violent or even a property crime in Denver is 1 in 18, according to Neighborhood Scout. CrimeGrade.org gave Denver an overall grade of D- in 2024, with a D for violent crime and a D- for property crime, confirming that crime levels in Denver are significantly above those of the average U.S. city. Denver was rated safer than only 9% of other cities nationally. The 2024 data from the Denver Police Department shows that Denver recorded over 7,170 violent crimes, along with 34,380 property crimes, and that includes over 8,800 motor vehicle thefts. The property crime rate of 4,763 per 100,000 residents is substantially higher than the national average. Now, there is some good news here. Violent crime has been declining. Denver's homicide count has dropped from 95 in 2020 to 36 in 2025. That's near a 2-decade low, and that's according to the Denver Police Protective Association. And Denver's violent crime rate has dropped by more than 114 per 100,000 people from 2024 to 2025. But for many residents and businesses, the perception of crime remains a real factor in a decision to leave. Now, reason number 4 why people are leaving Denver, it's the business climate. And what do we mean by that? Well, Denver has been losing the business community's confidence. And that matters because if businesses leave, then jobs leave. A 2024 study found that Colorado ranks as the 6th most regulated state in the country, with more than 205,000 regulations on businesses. And that's according to the Colorado Chamber of Commerce. A Common Sense Institute report based on 2024 data found that Colorado ranks 48th out of 50 states for new business starts. Between 2019 and 2025, 98 companies relocated or scaled back operations out of Colorado, resulting in a loss of over 13,000 jobs from the state. 27 of those departures occurred in 2025 alone. Colorado has also shed about 20 public company headquarters in 2024, reaching its lowest count of public company headquarters since 2019. We've had many high-profile departures that have made national headlines. Companies that have announced that they would move from Denver to places like Miami and other places like Texas. And so this has really become a problem when you see these public companies, these large companies, moving to Florida, Texas, and other states. And one developer put it bluntly, Denver, in its current state, is one of the most challenging municipalities outside of California to operate in from an approval process standpoint. So Denver's unemployment, that rate sat at around 4.6% as of May 2025, and it's slightly above the national average of 4.2%. And state data revisions reveal that Colorado's labor market actually contracted in 2025 rather than growing as initially reported. When businesses leave, when jobs leave, people leave. They look for opportunity elsewhere. So where are the Denver people leaving? Where are they going to? Well, the states and the metros most commonly cited as destinations for those leaving Colorado include places like I've already mentioned, Texas, Florida, Arizona, and both the Carolinas. And the reasons is because these places are offering lower costs of living, lower taxes, and more favorable business environments. Again, if you're favorable to business, it's going to bring jobs, and jobs typically will bring the people. The pattern is consistent with national trends. Higher earning millennials and Gen Xers are still choosing Colorado, according to migration data, but middle income families and maybe retirees are increasingly being priced out. Remote work is also reshaping the equation. For more workers untethered from a specific office, they start calculating living expenses, and they start shifting preferences around from maybe high density living and remote work, and then they start looking for other places that are a little bit more cost effective. And that's per the Common Sense Institute. So let's recap. All right. People are leaving Denver because of 4 major reasons. And so we look at reason number 1, housing costs. A median home price near $600,000, ranked last in the nation for affordability, and a rental market requiring nearly $80,000 in annual income just to break even. Reason number 2, overall cost of living, 9 to 33% above the national average, depending on the measure, with sales taxes, income taxes, and transportation stacking up. Reason number 3, crime. A D- crime grade, a 1 in 18 chance of victimization, and persistent property crime rates well above the national average. And reason number 4, the business climate and the jobs. Nearly 100 companies departed or scaled back since 2019, with major headquarters leaving and a regulatory environment ranked among the worst in the country. Now, don't get this wrong, please. Denver isn't dying. The metro area still has nearly 3 million people, and birth rates are certainly up. And some of the crime metrics, as we talked about, are certainly improving. And it remains one of the most beautiful places to live in America. But the data tells a clear story. The city that once had everyone wanting to move in is now having a serious conversation on why so many are choosing to move out. If you're thinking about moving and selling your home, and you want someone in your corner who will make sure you get your home sold effectively and efficiently without paying a high commission fee, I'd love to talk with you. I want to make sure you keep the most money in your pocket without it going to a real estate agent, with my sellers saving nearly $10,000 or more versus other agents. So let's talk some more about that. And if this video resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe. It helps more Denver area buyers and sellers find this information about the Denver and the Front Range real estate market. Now, I'm Dave Michael. I'm the House Wrangler with You First Realty. Thanks so much for watching. And until next time, happy trails.